Hello everyone, in tonight's video I'm going to do something that I haven't done before, and I think it may be interesting and a good way to learn for all of us, of course. And I'm going to give some comments on the fly that you are tying and sending me emails about it, and giving me permission to comment on those flies without your name. But I'm going to do it without your names, guys, because it's just better that way, I think. So in this video I'm going to discuss something that I would say it's a Betis nymph or BWO nymph or whatever, call it just olive nymph, generic name. It's amazing fly, however you tie it, it's amazing. It will catch your fish everywhere in the world, because those flies are definitely one of the most common flies you can find in rivers, when it comes to mayflies, of course. And even if we are not talking about mayflies, it can imitate midge, even a caddis. It's like super universal fly. So what I've noticed about this fly, so I got a mail from a viewer, and he said he was using his dog under for dubbing, which I salute, because I love using alternative materials and just solving some, let's say, issues. If you don't have something, find something else that works the same or similar. So dogs dubbing, why not? My friend and me, we were using dubbing from his cat. He has a Russian blue cat and it has amazing dubbing. I have yellow cat, amazing dubbing again. So just don't be afraid to experiment. It's also a small fly, so I'm talking about good size of this fly, obviously. It's also a small fly, and small flies are rarely bad, because they're always present and fish will always eat them, at least just to try them. So fish will eat them. It has pronounced thorax, and I think it may be a key trigger. And key triggers are what you can see in this fly, because it's super simple. It doesn't have too many details. It has like body, thorax, end. So it has color. That's pretty characteristic, like, I mean, common. Then it has very good pronounced thorax. It looks buggy, and it has a very good bead. Bead is also amazing. The bead is like neutral color. I think it's gunmetal, if I'm not wrong. Or any dull color, dark color will imitate that dark wing case cover. I mean, I know it goes around the nymph, but it's still, I think it imitates wing case cover, because everything else has more or less the same, like, underbody and the same side for thorax. So under side of thorax, they pretty much have the same color. The only color that pops out is that wing case color with BWO nymphs, Betis nymphs actually. So I think that can be a trigger point. Now let's go to something that I don't like about this fly. It's a strong word. I don't like. I would like to improve. For example, it's not smooth. Taper is not smooth. It's not even, and the ribs are not spaced evenly. That's it. That's literally two things I would correct on this fly. So let's just see how I would do it and what I would maybe improve in this fly. So to recreate this fly, I'm going to use UTC in light olive color, 70 denier. Hook is RX. It's super dry, size 16. I mean, obviously it's not a light hook, so I can use it for nymphs, and even if it was light, I would probably be able to use it for nymphs again. But the only problem with dry fly hooks is that sometimes the eye of the hook is too small, so the tungsten bead can actually cover it, close it, or even fall out like from the wrong side. So I'm using this thread. To prepare this thread, I'm gonna just take a length of this thread, and it's going to be maybe 50 centimeters, just to be sure I can tie a couple of flies with it. And I will run beeswax. This is like pure beeswax that I'm using. So I'm going to use beeswax, and I'm going to run it 2 or 3 times gently, because I'm using this UTC thread. If you go too hard on it, because this wax is not super soft, it's pure beeswax, so it's pretty stiff and hard. Just go gently, not to fray any of the thread fibers, and then go a couple of times with your fingers to clean all the excess residue from the wax. The reason why I'm doing this is I think it helps, let's say, strengthen the thread. What it also does is it makes it darker. So instead of having relatively light thread, it's going to be darker. And when it gets wet, it won't change. It will stay the same. Whereas if you're using the raw thread like this directly from the spool and you put it in water, it will get darker. So you'll actually get almost different color, a couple of shades darker. So it's not small difference. I will start in regular fashion. So not reverse jam hitch, but normal hitch. And every once in a while, I will spin my bobbin holder counterclockwise to flatten the thread. That is the reason why the original fly that I'm trying to recreate doesn't have even body, because the thread was not flat. Now I will go and cover one layer, and you can see that it's like super thin layer. And now I will decide how far into the bend I want to go. I like to have this curve a little bit emphasized, so I'll go a little bit into the bend, and then still having the flat thread, I will just cover everything back. Now, to have ribs, you can use just your thread, but it's going to be too thin. You won't even notice it's there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a loop here. And I'm going to I'm going to put this loop on the side of the hook. And with my tying thread, I'm going to lead it on the side until the tie-off point here. Well, end point. And this is already third layer of thread, and it's time to flatten it a little bit. Okay, now to create taper, you always go a little bit less than the previous time. So I'll stop here, and then touching turns, counter spin the bobbin holder, go back, and you can see I'm not going to the bead. I'm gonna fit my thorax over here. So I'll do it one more time. Create nice taper here. And that's it. Done. That's all the taper I need. Even without taper, this fly would be perfect. Now there are two ways now to rib this. You can counter spin the rib. If you counter spin the rib, the thread will tend to jump towards the rear, so you will have to fight it to make ribs towards the eye. But if you spin it clockwise, the thread will try to jump towards the eye, so actually it's going to follow your lead. So if you sometimes just lose the tension, you will actually you won't actually have any problems with making ribs. Now, to make proper ribs, I like to turn it upside down and try to keep the same angle while you're ribbing this. Just to practice. Not always works, but I think it looks good. What would improve this fly, in my opinion, would be wire ribs. Using wire here would make it slightly more durable, and obviously durable flies are definitely something that we want. I mean, at least nymphs. To have, like, if you can catch like 20, 30, 50 fish, that's a good fly for me. I noticed that when I'm using wax, the fly definitely lasts longer than without wax. Now, For the thorax, I don't have a dog, and my cat is yellow, so it won't fit here. I'm going to use the dubbing that I made with squirrel, some CDC and some UV dubbing here. So I have a video on that, the squirrel dubbing mixer, something like that is the name. So I'm going to use just a small pinch, like so. And this is like maybe centimeter and something long. By the time I was talking with you, while I was talking with you, flatten the thread, flattened, so I can actually split it with my needle and insert the squirrel dubbing. You don't need much, just like centimeter or maybe slightly more of the loop. So just insert this, press it, as you can see here. It's not super tight, so I'm gonna counter spin it, just a habit because of the unspinning actually the thread. And now I'm going to just spin it a little bit more, go with my bobbin holder, and then see, I was going backwards a little bit, so go forward and you got yourself a nymph. Now with a flat thread again, you want to create your whip finish knot, and in this case I'm going to create two. One I'm going to create with my hands, and that's the one that will hold everything in place, the one that's, and as you can see the thread is not twisting too much, just a little bit, so it means it won't jam anywhere. And this one is actually here to hold the fly in place. So the next one I'm going to make, I'm going to use super small amount of dubbing, dub it around my thread, again 5-7 millimeters maybe long, just to cover this area and to hide the previous knot I made. So I'm going to insert my whip finishing tool and go with 1, 2 and almost 3 wraps, and that's it. I hid the knot that I made. I have nice bulky legs, as you can see. This is super simple fly. Now a couple of ways you can, let's say, improve, but I cannot guarantee it's improvement, and sometimes it's just a matter of confidence, I think. If you use polypropylene, that's usually the stuff that you're using for parachute post in yellow, the color won't change. The color will actually pop out more, and it will be okay. Not super durable, but okay. If you can find some yellow wire, excellent, use yellow wire, because yellow and green, they go well together and they imitate those nymphs better, I think. You don't need to use this knot for hiding the previous knot, and you can use more or less of these of this dubbing. Obviously this doesn't have too much dubbing, it's just buggy. I mean, look at this thorax, it's not even 1/3 as proportions would say, but I'm counting in thorax the bead as well. So if you count the bead and the hairy thorax, then it's 1/3 of overall length, and then it's in proportion. It has a little bit of sheen because of this UV, bugginess because of squirrel, color, bead for the weight to get into the zone. I think it has everything. So bottom line, the fly I got to comment is amazing fly. It had just a little cosmetic things that I would improve, but it's not something that would actually improve fishing of this fly. Just cosmetic, is just a way how to improve your technique of tying, and that's it. So guys, please tell me what you think about this style of the videos, about me commenting your flies, maybe recreating your fly, trying to show what I would improve and how, instead of just talking about it. So tell me what you think, and if you want, I will leave my email in the comment down below, so you can email me if you want, and when I have time I will just reply and I may make a video. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and see you next week.